Hey guys, welcome to this video. Thanks so much for tuning in, sharing in this now moment with myself and with one another. If you haven't seen these videos before, welcome back if you have. My intention is unity and oneness. I'm just going to drop into a little flow with the guides after giving just a quick little energetic update for about 5 minutes. When I drop into flow with the guides, I just open up my consciousness, drop into my heart, into my body, and allow my connection with my angelic, galactic, higher self ancestors to come through, and I share that with you guys in sometimes a poetic format. But one of the things I wanted to invite everybody to notice is how are you feeling right now? Inviting everybody just to drop in for just a moment, take a breath in, take a breath out, give yourself permission to let go of anything you're holding on to that doesn't serve you for today in this moment doesn't serve you. Inviting ourselves to be aware of what that might be more frequently is really helpful for us right now because we are going through another purge, if you will. Some of us are, I'm sure, going, okay, all right, I cannot purge anymore, or I might just disappear. um, and there will be some people that are struggling with these energies coming in because they do the heightened energies, and I speaking from experience because yesterday I had a similar experience and my husband was like, "What's going on?" I have heightened energy sometimes. I'm very sensitive personally to what happens on the planet astrologically, what happens with the Schumann resonance, what happens with the solar activity. But it's not necessarily, as within, so without. So it just so happens that I recognize that the timing of the solar activities, the timing of the things that are going on in our solar system is impacting me personally. My response to that is that I'm also going through my own inner activations because they work hand in hand. When we have a solar storm, if we want to call it that, it shifts our energetic composition because we're interacting with all of these, what some might refer to as particles, right? My guides call it space dust, plasma, but we're also everything is a wave. So it's basically like maybe interference, wave interference. So we're picking up on the change in that wave spectrum. And this is my own interpretation of what I'm sensing, feeling, and what my guides have shared with me. So what happens is when our patterns get interrupted, we can sometimes feel interrupted. We can feel off. We can feel as if we're not in our bodies. It's harder to communicate. It's harder to feel, a lot of things because we're feeling more than we're used to feeling in some cases. And it's a strange thing because we may not recognize it. I had a beautiful conversation with someone earlier who their loved one communicates with them. And sometimes that can show up for us as goosebumps. It can be, of course, the physical, which is lights flashing or things going on and off, but it's a feeling. And sometimes we're just not used to having these feelings, so we don't know why they're coming up for us. Now, as we purge and simultaneously as we open up to more of our gifts, whatever those are for you, they might be different they are for you than they are for me, or express themselves differently. It can increase our, it's like frayed wires, right? It's like all of a sudden we get zapped and we're feeling really overly energized or exhausted. So just to recognize these things, I always say raw, recognize and acknowledge, I'm feeling this way right now. Because what happens is when we ignore them, we just push through or we act like everything's fine, or, you know, we've got this buzzing, but we don't have time for that right now. Let's stay on track. Sometimes we have to shift what we're doing in the moment to help balance those energies, to help. I'm hearing actually as I'm in flow right now, which means I'm channeling kind of, but just not in a direct way. I'm in and out of just having a normal conversation while the guides are talking with me. Essentially, what I'm being shown is we're trying to create a buffer zone, is what they're saying. So we create this buffer zone, not even realizing that that's what we're doing. It's like when you have an annoying song playing in the back of your mind in a radio, but you can't turn it down. So you're just like kind of gritting against it or trying to ignore it, but it's still there. So the guides are like, work with it rather than trying to avoid it. Maybe you need to take a moment and you're at work and you're having this happen, and you might just need to go for a walk, or you might need to go sit in your car and do some breath work. I did a video with a whiteboard behind me called, I think, Tools for Ascension, and I missed out a lot of stuff in there, but it's a very basic helping tool. If you guys are new to this, I invite you to go back and check out that video of all kinds of tools that you can use to help to buffer. They're playing with the word buffer. So buffer zone is like trying to create less impact, so we're ignoring it. But what we want is to buffer out the noise and to get a smoother feeling, right? So it's a double meaning. And so what they're sharing is rather than resisting, right, putting up the bumpers, I'm seeing bowling, um, to kind of go with it and help process it a little bit more. Get our feet in water if we can, go and get a pedicure, go get a massage, take a moment and do some tapping. Um, I have a whistle in my car, the love tuner, and I will go and say, okay, I'll be right back. And I'll go to sit in my car and do the love tuner, which is a whistle that you blow into. Why does that help? It's a vibration, it's sound, and it's also breathing. So getting back to the breath, I'm just going to take a breath in and I'm going to let all using the voice to tone the vagal nerve, right? You guys, we got to just use whatever tools we've got in our toolbox right now. Let's face it, in order to face it. I'm hearing face the music. And that helps us tune in. They're playing with the music, tune in to even more that we have in our toolbox that we didn't know was there. Sometimes it's just a learning curve. Sometimes it's just that we're so used to being unaware that when it shows up in front of us, we don't see it or we don't recognize it, right? So we're just still trying to ignore it. Okay, there's so much more that could come in, but what else? Just sometimes it means we need to go for a run to get out that extra, get into a sauna, whatever it might be. So I'm just throwing all those things out. They're saying that the physical impacts of these upgrades are literally going to impact us physically. So it's like this is happening in the physical. It's not just woo-woo. There's changes happening on the earth, so on and so forth. So again, as within, so without, new things are coming into our solar system. New things are being discovered. This is also applicable to our physical bodies and our form and how we're interacting with reality. Okay, so this is meant to be felt. It's not necessarily understood on a linear basis, but sometimes I yawn to move the energy around. So I'm probably gonna do some light language and I'm gonna send some energy to help support maybe that transition for some. So this is definitely meant to be felt. So I'm just gonna invite you to drop into your body. Notice not only what you're feeling inside your body, notice how your skin is feeling. Notice if you can sense where your breath is going in the body. Can you expand your side ribs a bit more as you breathe in? Can you lengthen your exhale to help relax the nervous system a little bit? I like to use that ujjayi, kind of allowing the throat to soften, like you're going to fog up a mirror, right? And we're going to do some toning. And apologies if the sound gets muted. I need to figure that out. But I'm going to invite you to tone with me. So you're just going to make a sound out loud, and then I'm going to go into the channeling from there. As I do this, I want you to just feel what your body's feeling. Notice if you feel the vibration in your bones. Notice if you feel a little lighter. Notice if you feel a little bit more relaxed. Maybe you need to do it longer. Maybe you need to be shorter with it. We're just going to do a little bit. And I'm pausing because I can feel heat radiating out of my hands. And I can sense the air around my hands and skin changing. It shifts slightly. It feels a little bit more thicker. Kia wa e shima e kuko. Even if this isn't hearing, I don't know if my sound is coming through. Don't worry about it. Just keep making your own sounds. The energy is moving. There are no walls with energy work. So just feel into the body. Even if you can't hear anything, just focus on your breath. Ia ua kua mea shi e kua oa e ni kua e shi e o a kai ni ki kai i shi ni. Ia kuni ti wa makai shu. Kau ia ia o shi e wa kua e ni ni e pakai. Ia o ko e she a e ni kuko e ko e ni e kua ai o e ni. Ishi ku ni wa e kai. Ni ku ishi ni ku iaha ishi da iku na iaha. Your ancestors are lining up around you. Can you feel them in your field? They are supporting you. De uahashi. They are supporting the earth. Kuye ish ine kikai. Ishi nene kuku wai shini kumai diti kike ishine. For we are the many squares in a quilted blanket. We are interchangeable, commingling and growing together. Diwushini, threads and fibers interwoven through the stitching of reality. Shiti ki kua wo hua ni umai shi. And we move energetically in this transmission through that field. That is the imprint that you are imprinted in, that you are woven into, the fabric of your skin, the fabric of the air that you breathe, that is within and all around. Ba ish inukuk uaha ish ini. Iwa ku uaha ish iniki kai. We move through this field of form beyond form, through an energetic convergence, if you will, that allows the frequency, the waves, and the energy to move fluidly through this form. Ish uyaha inike, carry the form, information. Niku uaha ish ini ik e. We are moving heaviness, if you will, up and out of the field as we intend to. Ni ush ik u ku a ish iniki kuaha ish ini wa ik ike waha. So the breath and energy can feel a bit lighter, even reluctantly, for there are those who are listening, who are reluctant to feel, who are reluctant to let go of the blanket that they have been wearing for a long time, to let go of the blanket that has been keeping them comforted over time, that has been part of their makeup, if you will, over time. Me shiwi uku uaha ish ine. We invite you to hold that blanket with reverence and love at this time, to feel yourself holding it to the heart, holding it from the heart so the heart can dissolve the need to hang on. So the heart can assist in dissolving the energy that is still stuck within the field of form, the energy that is still stuck in the field of information that is stale, one might say. Ni wa e o ko shi wu ki wa wa e ni ki kwa wa o e ne she. I ko o shi wa ha e u a ko ne u a ne. Just breathing in and out, still moving the energy. So as I'm being shown this massive blanket that we're wearing to keep us warm, right? And you know how when a child has a blanket that they've been carrying around with them, it's a little bit like Linus from Snoopy, Charlie Brown, carrying around that blanket mixed with Pigpen. The two characters merge. And so we have this energy that's in the field, that's thought patterns, that's beliefs, that's stories, that's things we've picked up on, other people's stuff, our stuff. And I'm just cleaning it off. And we're cleaning it out. That's what's happening. I like to pull the threads out of the blanket and then I weave them around. In my imagination, I have like one of those, I've seen it, like a bracelet, like Wonder Woman, blue and gold. I'm sharing these funny things with you guys because it's time for us. I mean, I teach people this all the time, but obviously, if you're watching this video and you haven't done a session with me or it's been a long time, we all have different styles and it grows and evolves, right? So hopefully this is something that you might find helpful for you. I'm not saying you have to pull it off your wrists, but I wind it up. I pull threads out. So sometimes you feel like something's being pulled out of your foot or pulled out of your arm, you know, and then I just kind of, I pull it all out and then we dissolve it. And I'm burping. That's a way that I clear out that energy. So to move stuck energy, sometimes you might want to burp, cough, brush it off, right? Brush it off, unwind it, anchor it into the ground. Don't worry about Earth has enough problems. If you want to give it up to the angels, that's fine too, or send it up to the tube of light that we're all connected into and through. Anchor it into the earth is fine. It gets composted. Just breathe. So it's okay if you don't feel anything when you're having these energetic moments or listening to light language or whatever it might be. Everybody's in their own process. And sometimes it's that we have little activation later where we have a memory that comes up that we haven't thought about in a while, a person, a loved one. And that's an opportunity. It's like we're having a shift in our awareness. And that's an opportunity for us to be aware of what is coming up. Things that maybe we've been holding on to in the body unknowingly. It can be past life stuff. I have ancestors that come through. I don't know who they are, but I recognize that they're part of my lineage. And so all of a sudden, I might be clearing something in my own physical form that I was carrying with me because of a connection I had with an ancestor, a memory that it's doesn't have to be complicated. That sounds complicated, but it's actually quite simple. So what I'm hearing is just allow, play with different energetic ways of shifting the way we feel in the field, the way in which we are feeling. That allows us to really work not only together with the seen and unseen realms, but with our bodies as a toolbox, and together with the planets and the earth, together with one another, right? And it helps us to feel more of what's available to us. So the activations that are happening are extensive, is the word that they're using, extensive. So we are inviting you in this moment to extend your awareness, to extend your antennae, if you will, your feelers, and project from that space. Think of your heart as the projector to then bring in all of the other qualities. And this includes the brain, the entire temple that you exist within. We invite you to feel more than you are willing to feel at times. And we realize for some this is uncomfortable. We realize for some this brings up phases of discomfort. And yet this is a growing phase. You're growing in the most beautiful ways that you can maybe possibly imagine. Yet the way in which we see you, ooh, being shown a picture and getting a little emotional. It's one of those days. When we have a being come in who is all love, bliss, joy, whatever it might be, this feeling of happiness, this feeling of grace, that's the word. It gives us a sense of who we really are beyond all that other stuff, beyond the blanket of energy that we're carrying around with us. I'm being shown light, rainbows, colors, sound, and I'm being shown there is no disconnect. It's like if you picture this gold, kind of this golden white, it's all got all colors in it, but let's just say that's your base that you're swimming in. And all the colors emerge from that. Actually, darkness, but that's a whole other can of worms. What I'm being shown right now is where it's like this fluidity that we don't see. We see disconnectivity because that is the reality that we have woven ourselves into. That's part of the blanket they're talking about. So that's becoming more transparent. And so we're starting to see through things, but we still are feeling like it's not lining up, right? So, and it works both ways. Okay, I'm being called to hone in on that a bit. From one perspective, people are starting to see reality in a different way. And they see it as wonderful. They're seeing good things happening. They're seeing like, wow, this is happening. This is exciting. So why don't I feel better? From another perspective, people aren't seeing things, but they feel differently about it. And then there's the third that are both, meaning things look pretty awful, but I feel pretty good. Shouldn't I feel like upset about this? And they're utilizing those examples as a unique difference in people. For some people, it's going to go the one order, and other people, it's going to go another order. Some people, it's going to oscillate. And then, of course, there's the third that you're seeing and feeling differently. And sometimes what you're seeing and feeling doesn't match up either, right? So it's almost this like we can't quite line up with the cracks in the pavement, but that is part of what we're working through. So in this transmission, we invite you just to feel into you and express yourself in the most beautiful expressions of you that you have available to you. We invite you to tone, sing, hear and feel your voice. Feel the tones in which you speak, in which you voice your energy. Feel into the sounds that make you feel good. Recognize the buffer zones in which you are buffering against the noise, yet you are continuing to feed yourself the noise that you are no longer able to buffer out. For some, the sounds are grating like nails on a chalkboard. Change the music, even if only temporarily, to offer yourself the opportunity to change moment to moment throughout the day in temporary moments. For all of this is moving, all of this is shifting. Give yourself the opportunity to shift gears based on the curvature of the road that you are currently on in this moment. I'm being shown uphill, downhill. Maybe you need to change the music. Maybe you need to put more air conditioning on. They're just showing us we're on a ride. We are the ones in the vehicles, driving the vehicles. So we are the ones that have to be the ones to shift gears. We're very used to powering through. We're very used to having someone else guide us. We're being called to really take the wheel in a very patient, compassionate way and not over controlling. So the kicker is take the wheel of your life, but don't try to over control it. And that's another one of those cracks in the sidewalks. People are like, well, I'm not in control, but I have to make a decision. But I'm not in control because my body's doing these weird things. I'm not controlling that. And so it's this strange dichotomy that a lot of us are. I'm having this wonderful thing happen over here, and simultaneously I'm having this awful thing happen over here. I mean, I have to be fluid with this, but I have to somewhat control, you know. So they're showing me like, all right, you might need to change your diet. You might need to take some time out. You might need to put someone else on timeout. That would be you taking control of someone that you like, let's say it's a child or a family member. Without controlling them, you can offer that space and then take a step back and say, I really feel this is time I need for myself. Can we have this conversation at another time? Would that be okay with you? So, but the asking for permission is they're sharing, but without asking for permission. So we're doing it in a conscientious way, if we can, so that other people recognize we're going through something, and simultaneously we recognize and show other people that we see they're going through something too. Does that make sense? So it's about conscious communication. It's about us having these conversations without needing to control the outcome. It's about recognizing that something is going on in our body that we may not be able to control through mere diet alone. And it's just being aware of this without getting angry about it. And you guys, am, I do this too. I get angry over things like, why should I have to go to the doctor again? I thought I fixed this problem, so on and so forth. That's happening for a lot of people right now. Also, what I'm hearing is not judging someone else's crises. So they're showing me the blanket again. Like when we cast judgment on what somebody else is going through, that creates more negative energy in our field. Common sense, but sometimes we don't even realize we're doing it because we're just in a habit, kind of like the buffer zone. So the more conscious we become in our communication style with our bodies, ourselves, our cells, and the body of the planet and the collective body of humans that gather on this planet together, the more we are able to extrapolate from these conscious interactions the way in which we are all changing. We will be able to see reality from this new this newly informed period in time. We begin to see the fluctuation in energy. We begin to see how we are all connected. We begin to see and therefore sense, and therefore see what we are. Oh, it's a play on words, like what we are, truly, truly. So we come together as an energy, a currency, a frequency of higher dimensional beings, yet they are accessed through you. They are accessed through this space of expansion, coherence, gratitude, grace. And so the more we feel this way, the easier it will be for us to play in these higher realms, in this body, in this template of reality. And the more vividly we will live, we will be free to live. For we are the freedom makers. Me ushikua hene. The chain breakers. I'm being shown Game of Thrones, but I am being shown a dragon. We release one another from our contempt. We release one another from our judgment. We release one another from these blankets of expectations. I'm being shown, like, when we have an expectation, they should do this, we're just blanketing them and assuming that's how it should all work, when it's not all blanketed into one thing. Even though we are all part of the same quilt, there's different squares. When we see in this way, we do not behave in the way of the old that we are now seeing put on display. We begin to walk away from these unimportant, not constructive conversations. We begin to attract less of those into our field, for we are not projecting those thoughts in our field, wearing them like a blanket. We are instead free, and our light then is what we see. It is what we feel. Lighter in our hearts, lighter in our bodies, lighter in our thoughts. It is not that we do not listen when it is time. It is not that we put our heads in the sand. It is that we interact in a different way. And therefore, the listening changes. And therefore, what people are saying begins to shift. For it is all connected. As we continue to make these shifts, we invite you to continuously reconnect with you, with your loved ones, with your higher realms, through your heart, through your body, through your intentional focus as grace itself. We are then graced with each other's true presence. Mewa ek ua shiniki. E kumaha ish inik uaha nene ek umaha ish ine. Kuawai mau unuk uahene. And so it is. Thank you so much for joining me today. In love and light, guys. Namaste.